Yo, 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 what up with it, y'all? What's going on? Yo, what's good with everybody? Man, I hope that everybody having a good one. It's Monday, man. The weekend football was crazy. I think I'll be in here tomorrow, man. You know what I'm saying? With a whole recap tomorrow. But tonight and right now, I want to talk a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to talk a little bit of Colorado Buffaloes, and I want to talk a little bit about the NFL. You know what I'm saying? But before I do that, man, y'all go ahead and try and show the boys some love, man. Hit the like, hit the dislike for all I care. You know what I'm saying? Get down in the comments. Let me know how you feel, man, on these videos, man. This is what I'm saying. It's the least y'all could do for me. You dig, you dig. I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. But we taking on the Giants tonight, man. And I just want to say about give a little bit of key points. And simply said, our offense just got to get going, Pittsburgh. Like, come on, Steelers. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? We got to get this offense going, y'all. Like, this offense just has to get going. Period. Like the pass, the run, whatever. The Giants 2-5 record can be, you can blame that on a quarterback, you could blame that on coaching, whatever you want to choose to do that with. But 2-5, I'm not looking at this team as a 2-5 team. They're leading the NFL in sacks. Our offensive line has given us problems, right? And they're leading the NFL with 31 sacks. Must say that, right? And so there's getting to the quarterback. Our offensive line has let up sacks. They're very good at getting to the quarterback. Although their defense, their run defense is a little spotty, but we got to be able to run the ball because of that. That's that weak spot on there. And I think that's just because they over pursue the ball a lot. And that's going to make them ease up with knowing that we have good backs back there that can run the ball. I'm hoping that works with that. You know what I'm saying? If not, I think it's going to be a long day because our defense, we have the number 2 rushing defense in the NFL right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're not probably going to be able to run the ball on us. But our passing defense been a little off, but we do have cornerbacks that have a knack for the ball, which I like. It's been a long time since we had any cornerbacks that actually caught the interception and you know what I'm saying, got the yards. Now we can't have our defense on the field all night tonight. That just can't happen in order for us to win this game versus the Giants. I'm not looking at this Giants team 2-5 and saying they're trash or garbage. This is a professional football team. And I'll get to talking about some of the stats here. And to be honest, when you look at some of the stats, they're not far, we're not too far ahead of them, and they're not so far behind us with some of this thing, especially when it comes to offense. We both are one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL when it comes to passing and receiving. Both the Giants and the Steelers were like only 2 spots above them, and we may be like 31st or 28th in some of these categories. So it doesn't even, so when it comes to that, we can't really brag on that, and that's because this offense just has not been able to score, and we have not been able to run the ball that effectively. You know what I mean? And that's pot. And I don't know if that has something to do with the offensive line, but they're getting better at that now. I don't want to say we have not period been able to run the ball, but we have 938 yards. And when I'm looking at some of these better offenses in the NFL, I want us to be somewhere in you know what I mean, in that circumference, in that area. I want us to be somewhere in the area of some of these better rushing offenses in the NFL. When you get to looking at the Detroit Lions, when you get to looking at the the Baltimore Ravens, they're able to run the ball effectively. Although Baltimore just lost yesterday, and I think that's because they have lack of a passing game there, and they largely depend on a run. Now we can do both, but I'm just waiting to see this offense open up all the way. You know what I mean tonight, and I think that's important for us, man, because we're 20th and 20 plus yards with receiving in the NFL. We got 1,389 yards passing, period. We're 16th in completion percentage in the NFL. And as far as passing goes, we're 14th in rushing first downs in the NFL. We got 8 rushing touchdowns, 938 yards, 4 fumbles, although I won't put out all up on them. We're 6 in attempts. We're 6 in attempts in the NFL, meaning we're trying to run the ball. We're calling the run plays, but we just don't have the yards or the yards there. And the yards per carry, we're 25th in the league. So we're running the ball up there with the most. Like we're attempting to run the ball a lot, but we're not getting the yards per carry, and and the yards aren't up there with the best. And that's where I'm getting at with that. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not. But we got to get there. And I hope that we do. I hope we get there and we're making these changes. Our offense looked good last week. I hope that this it continues on with this Giants team tonight. All right, we're 31st in receiving. Um, in the receiving category, we're 12th in yards per catch with 11.3 yards per catch. We're 27th in touchdowns when it comes to receiving touchdown to receiving. We got 7 receiving touchdowns as total, all our receivers together. This is just a team stat. This is not individual stats. We're 20th in the league and 20 plus yard plays as far as receiving goes. And we're 20th and 40 plus receiving plays with only 3. Now, and some of those came last week just against the Jets. So that's something to worry about there. You know what I mean? We gotta open up this offense. We have to these other weapons we have to utilize some of these guys, and whether it's I think attacking this defensive line with wide receiver screens, tight end screens, being able to run the ball effectively tonight. That's going to matter when it comes to playing this Giants team, regardless of this 2-5 record that people may be looking at and thinking that this Giants team can't get it done. Although in some of the other categories, as far as statistically goes, the Giants are performing horribly when it comes to statistics, but anytime you got a defensive line that and a front six, seven that is that dominant, leading the league in sacks, you got something to work with there. You know what I mean? They could start getting better tonight for all we know. You know what I'm saying? I just hope it's not against the Steelers, but we got to go out there and we got to play them. We're not playing a 2-5 team. We're playing a 0-0 team, and we're 0-0, and we're trying to go 1-0, and so are they. But we got to go out there and play them just like they're we cannot go out there and sleep on this Giants team. We got to go out there and play them like they have the same record as us. And we want to continue on doing what we're doing if we want to be a championship football team out there with the Steelers. All right. So they're passing for the Giants, the 30th in the NFL in completion percentage. They got 61%, the 29th as far as uh how many yards per catch they're getting. That's 5.8. The 27th in yards, period. That's 1,448. We're not too far ahead of them. We're actually, I think we're behind them when it comes to that particular stat, but we're not too far ahead of them. And that's what I'm saying. It's passing offense, our passing offense. They got 6 total passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I'm sorry, that's 31st in the NFL, 6 passing touchdowns, and they got 74 passing first downs. See, that's where you don't want to get it twisted. They haven't been able to punch the ball in the end zone either. The Giants haven't, but they got 74 passing first downs, and that in the league is up there almost like with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? So we have to get out there and play this team, man. Like we cannot sleep on the Giants, and I hope we do not go out there and it's the big. Now, when it comes to running the ball, as far as their defense goes, now we're talking defense. I'm talking defense, not talking offense. I'm talking this the Giants defense. They're allowing 71% completion percentage from a quarterback. They're 28th in the league when it comes to that. So if Russell Wilson is going to go out there and play like he did last week, I don't think that's good. Got to come out like he did in the second half, be efficient, and always come out with that high completion percentage that we used to see in the vintage Russell Wilson. We're going to need vintage Russell Wilson tonight against this Giants team. Believe it or not, because I'm not sleeping on them, and I hope some of y'all ain't. And I might keep repeating that through the whole goddamn show as long as I'm talking about the Steelers team, this game. All right. And I talked about our defense and how our defense is performing, and we're up there as far as the run defense goes, right? Passing, we could work on that a little bit more, but we're not horrible in passing, but we need to, you know what I'm saying? That rushing defense, we're second in the league in the NFL. We're only behind the Baltimore Ravens. The Giants have They're 18th when it comes to their rushing defense. 967 yards they let up. They're letting up about 5 yards a carry. They let up 6 rushing touchdowns. They let up 20 yards or more rushing carries. They let up 40 or more rushing carries. They let up 47 rushing first downs, and they got 3 fumbles. So that's so this team is somewhat starting to come into a stride, and I think they're like right there, and they may be missing a couple pieces, but I definitely won't say that they can beat us because they shouldn't beat us, but they will provide a challenge for us tonight, and I'm waiting. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the way that we step up to this challenge tonight, especially with this offensive line, because I want to see what our offensive line is going to do tonight, how we're going to protect Russell Wilson, and how we're going to attack this Giants defense. I can't wait to see what happens with this game, man. Um, because it's going to let me know a lot as a Steeler fan and a lot as a football fan and how this offense and how this team is going to perform moving forward. And I think that this is a good test for Russell Wilson. See, a lot of people out there may think that just because this Giants team is sitting at 2-5, that this is not a good test for Russell Wilson. I think that it is because he's going to have to deal with pressure. He's going to have to step up in the pocket. He's going to have to be on time with his throws, make good choices when throwing the ball. And that's exactly what we need to see out of him tonight is the test, I think. So if he's going to go out there and do well with that tonight, then I think he got the starting job. Up until knock on wood or anything, he gets a little bump or bruise or something like that, and Justin Fields had to come in and step in. But we'll see what happens with that. Now, closing on my Steelers, though, I would like to talk about how good I think that Dante Jackson is as a pickup. I think he's an excellent pickup for our defense. I think that trade was right on point. Um, I think that we were the winners in that. So far, we were the winners in that trade. Deontay Johnson, he wanted to leave the organization. I don't know why he didn't want to stay and wait until we got a different quarterback there. Not knowing he was going to a young quarterback, or was he wanting to get paid and was disgruntled about that? I don't know what was going on with that, because when you have a rookie that could come in and provide the same thing that you were able to do, um, I think that's a problem. Although I do think that if Deontay Johnson was there with us, that our offense would look a little bit better. And I think that Justin Fields would have had another weapon to go to if he was there in Pittsburgh. But where he landed at in Carolina, and us getting Deontay Jackson in that trade was a great pickup. He's top 5 in the league right now with 3 interceptions as far as interceptions go in the league. So I like that pickup. That was a great one, y'all. Um, as far as the quarterback goes, I talked about that a little bit. Justin Fields, I think I hope that he's looking at what Russell Wilson is able to do with the offense and how he's running this offense, so that he comes in and he makes a killing on it, because he's always taking 1 or 2 defenders away from that defense. Because he can outrun a linebacker, believe that or not. Justin Fields can outrun a linebacker. I want to see what he always is able to take that one defender away to pay special attention to him. And I think when it comes down to playoff time, when defenses are getting a little bit more stingier and they're trying to take away the pass from a quarterback, that's when he'll come in even more dangerous, because he'll have an open field. Sometimes they're playing a zone, sometimes they're playing man. But when you're playing Justin Fields, he's almost forcing the defense to play zone. And once he gets better at reading that, he'll be on point. He can make all the throws to me, and that's something that he can work on, and something that he can see a veteran like Russell Wilson and how he's able to attack that, even with the little mobility that he has left, getting up there in age. If he can pay attention to that, man, sky's the limit. And I hope that's what he's doing, even though he's patiently waiting, like he did in his tweet. I wouldn't take that too far. I think he's eager to get out there. And I think that this has motivated him on a different level. So when he does step in, I don't think we're going to see him play hero ball, but I definitely do think that we're going to see a better improved Justin Fields. And I hope that's what we do see. I hope he's not being disgruntled right now, because I'm a big Justin Fields fan. And I do think that he can take this offense to new heights and a new level. And we all, and if I'm thinking correctly, I'm thinking that you got a quarterback that is a veteran quarterback for the cheap, for the low. Your future quarterback got you to 4-2. We know what he can do. We know that he can win. Um, we know what we need moving forward, and that's an offensive line, and that's our main focus is offensive line. Receivers will become available this off season, so we got a lot of receivers coming up in free agency of next year and in the draft that we could possibly go after. Like, shore up our offensive line. We got Justin Fields there. Resign Justin Fields. Um, give the Bears their draft pick that we got for him, and we gonna build a destiny. Is if we get it this year with Russell Wilson, that's fantastic. But for sure, we're building for the future here right now, and it starts right now. But Russell Wilson can absolutely take us far with the way that he played last week. But like I said, tonight is the test. Patrick Queen. Um, I'm waiting on to see what Patrick Queen is doing, man. I'm waiting to actually see what Patrick Queen is going to show up and provide for us. We spent 30 plus million on him. I'm waiting to see him have his moment. We need Patrick Queen to have that moment, to be locked down. And as far as I'm sitting looking at right now, being number two, stopping it in on defense. Cool. I'm okay with that. So I know he has an impact on that defense. Not only or the offensive coordinator saying they got Patrick Queen in the middle, we got TJ Watt here, and we have Cameron Hayward to deal with. Speaking on Cameron Hayward, he's still producing at a high level at his age. I don't know what the problem was or the holdup was to get him paid. Like, he's a leader on that defense. He balls out like crazy. Like, we got to keep him there. We got to keep him there, man. He does his job. But I'm waiting for Patrick Queen to get into form, man. That's what I'm waiting for to see up out of that. And finally, we got some corners that could catch, man. Like, we got some cornerbacks who are actually getting these interceptions and turning the ball over. Um, Say what you want. I've been a Steeler fan my whole life. I seen the Ike Taylor era. I seen the Rod Woodson era, youngin. I seen the Ike Taylor era, Ryan Clark and Palomalu and those guys. I seen that, and now I'm seeing some guys that could actually catch the ball and turn the ball over, and I like that about our team, and I'm loving that right now. I'm definitely feeling that. But like I said, offense got to get rolling, man. Offense got to get rolling. Moving on. Talk a little Colorado. Now, I know CU, right? Congratulations to CU, first of all. Let me say that. Congratulations, CU, man. All the CU fans, including myself. I'm so happy to see Coach Prime in a bowl game this year, man. He's going to a bowl, and now not only will he go to a bowl game, but he actually can go to a bowl game that actually means something right now, and a good bowl game. And I was presented with the question, what bowl game would that be? But I'll get into that though, right? Because everything that he has built so far and went through the criticisms of me and speaking for me and everything else, and I'm gonna continue doing that because I like my teams. When I like a team, I do that. I just got finished talking about my Steelers, what we need to do better, what we're bad at, and everything else. And I love the Steelers. So if I like my team, I'm gonna continue on doing that. Now, how to do it, I can understand that, but still gonna do it. Now, he's going to a bowl game. He can they can possibly finish up with right now at best 10-2. They could possibly finish up that way. They could possibly finish off right now 9-3, 8-4, 6-6, 7-5. It's up to them. It's up to Colorado and what they want to do and how they want to finish that team. Now, we don't know exactly how they're going to finish or where they're going to finish at. They have already exceeded my expectations for this year. Already exceeded. seeing what happened last year and some of the things that was going on last year, I thought that might be a repeat, especially going into the transfer portal again. But it has proven to be good for the Colorado Buffaloes and for other teams out there in college football. And Travis Hunter has absolutely stepped up and took on the role that he has on that team of being a leader, and not only being a leader, vocal leader, but actually showing and producing on the field. Shador Sanders has became a lot better leader than what he was doing last year, and the movement and the words he has proven to actually go out there and say, you know what, I'm gonna check to this run play. I'm gonna give my running back the ball. And when I'm seeing things like this done, things that I was saying in my critiques, I'm happy to see this out of the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm excited to see this out of them because he already has a bowl game. Now, which one will he go to? I was presented with that question. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that pulled up. Right now, I'm gonna start. Now I can go all the way up into some of these bowl games that's on December 23rd, or 26 games, the Christmas Eve bowl. I'll start here, right? I'm not, because they have already exceeded my expectations, and I know football, and that team is a dangerous team, right? With the weapons they have at receiver. So I do not expect Colorado to play and on December 18th in the LA Bowl by Gronk. I don't expect Colorado to play in the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. I don't expect that out of them. No. So I will start, with the 23rd of December, and we'll talk about some of the bowl games they can make, because I was presented with this question. Now, these are some of the bowl games Colorado can make. Now, let me make sure they're on the screen so y'all can see them. All right. And we'll go through that. Then they can play at the Myrtle Beach Bowl, December 23rd. That's on a Monday, 11 a.m. Brooks Stadium, Conway, South Carolina. They can play the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in Boise, Idaho, December 23rd, 2:30 p.m. They can play the Hawaii Bowl, December 24th, Tuesday, 8 p.m. You know what? I'm not even gonna mention them bowls anymore, man, because I'm gonna give Colorado I'm gonna give I'm gonna go down here, right? We going to Vegas. We're gonna start off at Vegas. Y'all see the other bowls if you need to see them, but I'm gonna start at Vegas. I'm not even gonna start there. I'm gonna start after Christmas, right? Because now we're getting into better bowls now, right? These bowl games going over into the new year and everything, and around the second round of the playoffs, the quarterfinals, or the good bowl games, right? So, well, yeah, you can see the Vegas Bowl and the Fenway Bowl and the New Mexico Bowl. You see all those games, right? So we'll go ahead at the Pop Tart Bowl in Orlando, Florida, Camping World Stadium. We got the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Jenna Juice and Dre. That's crazy. Dre and Snoop in Tucson, Arizona. Wow, that's crazy. Got the Snoop Dogg Bowl. You heard? That sounds like something they might play in. You know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, the Go Bowling Military Bowl, the Military Bowl, the Alamo Bowl. That's a decent one. In San Antonio, Texas. The Independence Bowl, Shreveport, Louisiana, Independence Stadium. Could possibly be playing out one. That's December 28th. The Real Quest Bowl in Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium. That sounds like a good one to be in. Trans Perfect Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. Um, Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, El Paso, Texas, December 31st. All right. New Year's Eve Bowl. That's a good one. The Cheez It Bowl, Citrus Bowl. Definitely a good one. Orlando, Florida, being played there. The Texas Bowl. That's definitely another good one in Houston, Texas, NRG Stadium. All right. Now this is where the quarterfinals is. So yes, so we're definitely in good bowl. We're entering good bowl territory now, right? This is good bowl territory for Colorado, right? To be the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida, January 2nd, Thursday. That'll be a Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Sound like something they'd probably be in, right? The First Responder Bowl in Dallas, Texas, at Gerald Ford Stadium. That's at 4 p.m. Duke's Mayo Bowl, 7:30 p.m. January 3rd. Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium. That's a big one. The Bahamas Bowl, uh, 11 a.m. in Bahamas. I don't know if that's big, January 4th or not, but it has to be because it's after the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and it's right where the semifinals of college football, the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl is being played, right? All right. And then they got the national championship there. So the national college football playoff national championship is on January 20th and on a Monday. So the Bahamas Bowl, the Mayo Bowl, and the First Responder Bowl and the Gator Bowl is the four bowls that I'm expecting Colorado to be in this year, right? One of those bowls, right? If definitely, if not those bowls, and those bowls maybe go to the conference loser, the team who loses the conference championship game. Definitely, without a doubt, the next tier of bowls would be the Texas Bowl, the Cheez It Bowl, the Tony the Tiger Bowl, the Real Quest Bowl, Trans Perfect Bowl, and so forth and so on, right? So this is that area that Colorado should be in. The Pop Tarts on down, I'm thinking, right? Somewhere in that area with all these football teams. So it'd be good to see them on a New Year's Eve bowl. I like to see that, one of these four bowls here. I'll definitely like to see them on one of those New Year's Eve bowls. That's where I could see them at playing there, bringing in the new year with a win. How cool would that be for Coach Prime? And how dope would that be for Coach Prime to win a bowl game, have the opportunity to win a bowl game on New Year's Eve, bringing in New Year's with your boys that are going to the NFL, winning a bowl game. That'd be a memory that you'll never forget, right? That'd be dope. I think that'd be dope right there. And I do think that this team will play for him. I don't think that this team will opt out. He got an old school mentality. He probably telling them like, look, all these other guys just going to opt out. I think that sends a different message to the NFL too. Like you do want to take care of your body, you do want to do that, but I also think that it sends a different message. And the way that he does things is different, right? The way Coach Prime do things is different, and it's different for a whole team to show up and play in a bowl and win for their school. And regardless of what a competition out there, if Colorado's full team and starters show up for that game, and I don't know, it could be LSU, Ole Miss, I don't know, Missouri that show up with their second and third string guys and their freshmen, and Colorado blows them out. Guess who looks good in that bowl game? Not only for that sponsor, and not those sponsors that you could probably possibly bring in and more NIL value to your schools. Yeah. Y'all see where I'm going with that. And I don't think that whoever advising some of these players to sit out, yeah, that's cool. But now you're able to open the door for your little cousin or your nephew or your best friend or whoever that is. You're open, like your best friend came in as a freshman, it's your senior year, or he came in as his sophomore year, or he redshirted. You opening the door for that school, for your alma mater, to get more NIL value out of sponsors. Lots of people gonna be watching those games. They're gonna be wanting to sponsor schools, and I think that opens the door for that. But people don't think about, when you're that young, you don't think about the future. You think about right now and yourself. And I know it's a back and forth thing, but I think we can have a good conversation about that, because I think that they do mean more than everything else. And these sponsors want to be able to be a a college football playoff quarterfinal bowl. They would rather be that than, you know what I mean? They would rather be part of that system than to be something else. But if you can get your whole team to play again, and these bowl games mean something at the end of the year, man, and I think they maybe even take trying to get to like adding, the 28th, the Snoop Dogg Bowl, maybe even the Pop Tart Bowl on down, and two, meaning something. They're trying to expand the playoffs, and that's for money. But in my opinion, I think it's for money. It's always about the bottom line, right? It's all right. But I want to talk a little bit about these NFL quarterbacks, right? These NFL quarterbacks, man. The NFL, the product that the NFL has come down to, man, is just crazy right now. And I do not understand what, why can't these quarterbacks throw for more than 250? Why can't they do that? Their running backs are getting 100 yards, some of them, you know, and they're still not able to throw for 250. Are the defense is better? Is the coaching better? Are these players coming into the NFL not ready to take over the reins at quarterback? We just seen a quarterback in Anthony Richardson actually take a play off because he said he was doing too much running around on the field. Um, that's crazy to me. You quitting on your team in the middle of a play. You're a quarterback. You don't take a play off. You call a timeout and make an excuse for calling the timeout. You do anything else than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. But I guess if he would have fell down and faked hurt, we would have said something else. I don't know. But you don't do that as a quarterback. I do know that. But for all the quarterbacks who threw for like 250 and less yesterday, let me count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 quarterbacks in the NFL threw for 250 or less. That's half of the quarterbacks in the NFL went 250 or less in a game. Starting quarterbacks. And I think you can count on one hand. I didn't even do this. I didn't even do the math. I'm doing it right now as I'm making this for y'all out here. How many went over for 300 yards? I'm looking at it right now. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks went for over 300 yards yesterday. 5 quarterbacks. And those 5 quarterbacks are, and I will say, okay, Kyler Murray played a horrible game, but he went over for 307 yards. Horrible. I didn't think I liked it. His tight end went off over 125 yards receiving. I thought could probably play a little better, but whatever. For most of the game, he really wasn't getting those passes off. They were doing a good job. Miami was doing a good job against him. Trevor Lawrence went for 308, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Said Kyler Murray, that's 2 right there, right? Then Baker Mayfield with 330, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So that's 3. It's 3 of the quarterbacks, right? And then Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. So there may be 6. Jameis Winston went for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's 4 quarterbacks. And I mentioned Baker Mayfield already, right? And then I go down to Jaden Daniels, 326 yards and 1 touchdown. That's 5 quarterbacks. 5 quarterbacks in the NFL went for over 300 yards in a game. Just 5 of them. But 14 of them went for 250 or less. And those names are Sam Darnold, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 196, an interception, no touchdowns. Although Josh Jacobs did go for 25 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tua went for 234 and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, 233 and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 236 yards, 1 touchdown. Joe Burrows, 234, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Anthony Richardson had 175 and 1 interception. Jared Goff had 85 yards and 3 touchdowns. Spencer Rattler had 156 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Geno Smith had 212 yards and 1 interception. Caleb Williams had 131 yards in a game. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Gardner Minshew had 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that was 2 touchdowns. He also rushed 2 times for 6 yards. Bryce Young had 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He ran 3 for 6. And Then you got Dak Prescott had 243, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now the rest of the quarterbacks just had, you know, decent games, I guess. You could say Kirk Cousins 276, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Um, that was one of the better games in the NFL yesterday. Justin Herbert had 279, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Josh Allen had 283, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was close to 300 yesterday. He didn't crack it. But the thing is where I'm getting at with this and pointing this out is that we're seeing a bad. This is horrible. This product is horrible. And I don't know if it's because they dumb the offenses down to try to look more like college football, or is these defenses better? Are these defensive coordinators better? Or these defensive players better? I would like that. That's how I want to look at this and say these defensive players have gotten better. The rigor of their training has definitely paid off. It's paid off. They're working so hard in the offseason that they're able to keep up with these receivers. They're able to get to the quarterback a lot more. But at the same time, you're paying these quarterbacks millions and millions of dollars. You're spending $234 million guaranteed on Deshaun Watson right after he got caught getting 50 happy endings. That's crazy to me. And that's none of my business. What he do off the field, but I'm just saying, like, whatever, dog. Like, that's like, if your business is out there in that way and being accused for something like that, like, and you get a $234 million contract, I need a quarterback so bad, I'm about to drop $234 on you. Like, God working mysterious ways. Now he's hurt and he won't be able to play for the season. But now that gives the opportunity to a quarterback who we said that was a bust, but just maybe needed to go into a system and learn. And like Jameis Winston, coming from Florida State, came in and started early and maybe shouldn't have done that. He threw for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win over the Baltimore Ravens, one of the best defenses in the NFL. They got the best rushing defense in the NFL, right? They're a little banged up right now at DB, but that's a lot of people right now in week 8 in the NFL. And right now, Jameis Winston looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL yesterday. Period. Statistically and game wise, he played a hell. That's his first start coming off the rust. That team is responding to Jameis Winston differently. They want to play for Jameis Winston, and now I think Cleveland Browns they found it. Obviously, he's QB1. They found him, and I do think that now the Cleveland Browns are also up for our in our division. And the AFC, they are up in the AFC North right now. They're going to get competition. They're going to be competitive, especially with Jameis Winston at quarterback. Nobody nobody expected the Cleveland Browns to do that without Amari Cooper. Say it. You can say it live you want, you know what I mean, to say that, but Jameis Winston got that team to play for him, and he looked good yesterday doing it. Um, Quarterbacks like, I mean, I expect Anthony Richardson to do what he's doing right now. He's starting way too early. I mean, I wasn't lying the other day when I said a lot of people wasn't checking for him in the draft. He wasn't going to be a first round draft pick if he didn't run a 4.4 and he's 244 pounds, 6'4". If he wasn't 235 plus, 6'4", and ran that fast, nobody would have taken him in the first round. No, they would have taken him at a decent round, developed him, had him sitting behind somebody, and then had him play. He's playing way too early, especially from where he came from and the way that he was playing at Florida in the SEC. We always say the SEC and the Big Ten are the most NFL ready um conferences at this point in time where he was playing, right? NIL just hasn't kicked in that yet. So we can honestly say that the SEC was sitting at the top of college football. And how he performed for the Florida Gators, you did not think that he was going to be a savior for the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think you did. And if you thinking that, then maybe you lying a little bit to yourself. 'Cause I didn't think that, right? But now looking at things, And the way things are going, some of these guys got to sit. Another quarterback that we may have thought that's came out. Jordan Love should have played a lot better. Jordan Love should have played a lot better in that game. Although they were able to run the ball effectively and they're keying on him, should have played a lot better. Kyler Murray threw for over 300 yesterday on a bad Miami's Dolphins team, of course. Miami Dolphins. I don't know exactly what's going on down in Miami or whatever. But when you have a leader like Tyreek Hill on your team, things can start going awry. Things can start going crazy. You too large for life. Low running with the cop. You could probably handle that a different way, right? You're not a role model. People looking at whether you don't want it or not. Got to handle yourself a certain way out there on the football field, and you got to lead your team a certain way out there on the football field. And I don't know if him being a leader of that team, he showed me, paid, um, and he is a hell of a receiver. He is a hell of a talent receiver. He's probably the best receiver in the NFL, all around receiver. Like when you look at what Tyreek Hill is able to do, he can be a speed receiver. He can be a possession receiver. He knows how to read the defenses. But he has to humble himself as a man. Has to humble himself in order to play and it give the Miami Dolphins a chance. Gotta lead that team right, man. Got to. And I think that they'll be fine. Jalen Hurts, 236 yards in the game. Although Saquon Barkley did have almost a 100-yard game. I like that. But gotta play better. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Let's talk about it. Everybody talks about Joe Burrow. And the Bengals wanting to win the AFC North hands down. They were ESPN's favorites. They were CBS Sports favorites. They were PFF's favorites. They were on three's favorites. Nobody talked about the Browns and the Steelers and the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens, yeah, a lot of people talked about the Ravens, but nobody looked at the Steelers. Nobody looked at the Browns. Like, the Browns are absolutely a contender now because they got Jameis Winston at quarterback. That team wants to play for him. We always been there, even without a quarterback. So I don't know how we stop being that way. We're getting a Justin Fields. I don't know how. Even with Kenny Pickett there, we still probably would have been a problem. Knowing what our defense is able to do, even though our offense couldn't score that much. But each his own. Say what you want. It's a tough division, especially when Joe Burrow team is sitting in fourth place in the AFC North. When you have the Cincinnati Bengals sitting in fourth place, in last place, you know that's a good division. So call it what you want and say what you need to get at your man. Geno Smith, 212 yards. He is missing DK Metcalf, but and that offensive line maybe getting a little touch up, but 212 yards. The way Patrick Mahomes been playing, I just can we chalk it up to the defenses or not? What do y'all think? I said what I needed to say. I say what I wanted to say about the NFL. But I do like the parity in college football. I do like the way that players are going to different teams and starting on different teams. I do like that. I do like a lot of things that are taking shape and taking form. But I don't like watching the NFL and quarterbacks not being able to perform well and not being able to throw for 250 yards plus. I don't like this. That's crazy. Caleb Williams, he have a 300-yard game, but they don't have a 331-yard game. And he did play a good, revamped, veteran-led Washington Commanders defense. Bobby Wagner is a leader on that defense. He's still producing at a high level. And he's doing what he needs to do. Man, all I know is I'm ready for a lot of the conversation. Let's get the conversation started down there in the comments. So next panel, we got some topics to jump right into. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man, for 45 minutes. Go ahead and hit the like if you like. If you don't, then I guess you won't. But y'all, appreciate it, man. I'm up out of here. Enjoy.